is Brandon, and before I tell this story, let me make one thing very clear. I've taken a lot of road trips in my life, seen a lot of strange things on empty highways. But this incident, it sits in one of the darkest corners of my mind even today. This was the night I realized that not everything you see on the road is human. The beginning, the drive and the weather. It was summer of 2017. I lived in Boise, Idaho, and my girlfriend at the time, Brooke, lived in Missoula, Montana. We had met in college, and after months apart, I was going to surprise her with a late-night visit. Boise had clear weather that day, but rural Idaho roads turned dark very quickly at night. I left around 10:45 p.m. I was driving my 2013 Toyota Camry, good condition, AC working fine, an energy drink in the cup holder, and a playlist ready to go. The GPS lost signal twice, but I didn't worry. I knew the route well enough. 2 hours into the drive, the road was practically deserted. An occasional truck, then 10 to 15 minutes of complete emptiness. No moon, barely any starlight. Tall, dense pine trees on both sides of the road. At night, they looked like giant silhouettes standing in pitch black. The first time I saw him around 12 a.m., something reflected in my headlights. I squinted, trying to focus, and then I saw a man standing on the right shoulder of the road. White shirt, loose jeans, and the strangest part, he did not move, not even slightly. He stood completely still, as if the wind, the cold, the darkness, none of it applied to him. I figured maybe he was stranded. But the way he stood, it didn't feel human. It felt like a cutout, a silhouette. As soon as my car got close, that man suddenly jerked toward the road like he was stepping toward my car, but without any expression on his face. It freaked me out. I swerved slightly into the left lane and sped up. I didn't dare look back. 5 to 7 minutes later, my heartbeat slowed down a little. I tried to rationalize. Maybe he was a drunk traveler, maybe a hitchhiker, maybe I was overthinking things. But something deep inside kept saying, this wasn't normal. 10 to 12 miles later, he appeared again. Around 12:22 a.m., I was far from that spot. Suddenly, in the distance, in the glow of my headlights, I saw the same man, same white shirt, same posture, standing on the left shoulder this time, staring toward my car with the same dead stillness. My grip on the steering wheel tightened. That sinking feeling in my stomach came back. This was impossible. No one could walk 10 to 12 miles in that time, especially not through pitch-black forest terrain. This time I slowed slightly to see better. He was facing my headlights directly, but his eyes, they looked dead, like a mannequin's. I accelerated hard, but now a new thought stuck in my mind. Was he waiting for me? The road, the air, the uneasiness. I checked the map. There was a truck stop about 12 miles ahead. I figured I'd pull over there. The wind outside was loud. The sound hitting the car made my heartbeat louder. And the whole time, I felt like something was watching me from between the trees. But the real terror began when I caught movement in my rearview mirror. The rearview mirror, something running beside me. Around 12:38 a.m., I was doing about 65 miles per hour. In the mirror, on the right edge of the road, I saw a tall, dark figure running, keeping up with my car. For a split second, when I looked again, there was nothing. But I'm certain, for that fraction of a second, something was there. The rest of the way I kept checking the mirror. Darkness, empty highway, and the sound of my own breathing. The truck stop. But the danger wasn't over. Around 12:48 a.m., I reached the truck stop. Lights, a couple of trucks, an old man sipping coffee. Everything looked normal. I stepped out, checked my tires, felt the cold air on my arms, got myself a coffee and walked back toward the car, and froze. On the passenger side rear door were 4 fresh, deep scratch marks, as if a hand or something sharp had tried to grab the car. I scanned the lot. No one. None of the truckers had seen anything. CCTV didn't cover that angle. I didn't get back in my car. I stayed inside the convenience store and spent the night there. The next morning, no answers. When I finally reached Missoula, I didn't tell Brooke anything, just said the drive was weird. But inside, I knew the truth. That man, or whatever he was, wasn't a stranded hitchhiker. People wait on the road, sure, but he was waiting ahead of me, like he knew exactly where I'd be. It was Thanksgiving week 2020. I lived in Phoenix, and my family and Flagstaff insisted I drive up that night because a heavy snowfall warning was issued for the next morning. I had dinner at 7 p.m. and left around 8:35 p.m. in my gray Honda Civic. The Phoenix to Flagstaff route is scenic during the day. At night, it's eerie. Between 9 and 10 p.m., the road is almost empty. Mountain climbs, sharp turns, thick pine forests, and wind that echoes through the cliffs like some distant animal crying. My phone signal kept dropping. GPS kept recalculating every 10 to 15 minutes. Weather was clear, but near Flagstaff, the familiar cold mist forms across the road. And in that atmosphere, I saw the SUV for the first time. The first encounter, the black SUV on the shoulder around 9:48 p.m. I was on Highway 89 North, speed roughly 50 to 55 miles per hour. Light mist on the road, headlights barely cutting through the darkness. Then I saw it, a black SUV parked on the right shoulder. Headlights on, hazard lights off. As I neared it, something felt off, very off. The driver's seat was empty, the front passenger seat was empty, and through the tinted rear windows, no silhouette. It gave me a strange feeling, but I kept driving. Everything was normal until I saw headlights appear behind me. The SUV suddenly behind me. But how? 10 minutes later, entering a denser part of the mountain road, I checked my rear-view mirror. 2 bright headlights approaching. At first I thought it was a truck, but as it got closer, I recognized the shape, the same black SUV. I froze. The place I'd seen it was at least 10 minutes behind me. Its engine wasn't running. No one was inside. So how was it driving? Who was driving it? I increased my speed from 55 to 60. The SUV matched it. I went 65. It went 65, like a mirrored shadow. This wasn't normal. It was tailing me. The high beams, a signal or a warning. Around 10:12 p.m., the SUV started flashing high beams, repeatedly, aggressively, like it wanted me to stop, or at least acknowledge it. I didn't brake. I checked the mirror again. The inside of the SUV looked darker than darkness. Too dark. If someone were inside, I would have seen even a little detail. I focused hard. Nope. Driver's seat completely empty, which meant the high beams were coming from a driverless car. My hands were shaking. Phone showed no signal. Side by side, with a driverless SUV. A minute later, the SUV slowly merged into my lane and pulled up beside me. Its body reflected my headlights faintly, but the windows were pitch black. I forced myself to glance at the driver's seat. Nothing. No one. Yet the steering wheel was steady. The speed perfectly matched mine, like a professional driver was controlling it. It stayed beside me for a few seconds, then moved a little ahead. My heartbeat was pounding in my ears. Then, the SUV braked hard. I had to slam my brakes. My car skidded slightly. The SUV stopped dead in front of me. I honked. No movement inside. Then, the driver's door slowly, barely, opened, just enough for the pitch black inside to look even darker. I stared, holding my breath. No one stepped out. 10 seconds later, the taillights turned off, and the entire SUV looked like it dissolved into shadow. I reversed immediately and sped away at nearly 70 miles per hour. Back in the mirror, then gone. 5 to 7 minutes later, I checked my mirror. No SUV, empty road, completely empty. I tried dialing 911. Even emergency calls wouldn't go through. I focused on Flagstaff, just trying to make it. Then suddenly, in the mirror, 2 headlights. The SUV, right behind me. I blinked, and they vanished. This wasn't fatigue. I was wide awake, alert, terrified. The SUV appeared, then disappeared, again and again, until real and unreal blurred. Flagstaff outskirts. The ending begins around 10:37 p.m. I reached the outskirts of Flagstaff. Houses, small stores, cabins, civilization returning. And there, the SUV vanished for good. No headlights, no shadow, nothing. I reached my family's home shaken and didn't speak about it until next morning. But the real twist came later. Police response. The car wasn't drivable for 3 years. When I reported it, officers checked the stretch I mentioned. At noon, they called back. "Ma'am, we found an old black SUV in that area." "But," I asked, "but what?" The officer said, That SUV has been non-functional for at least 3 years. Cut wiring, flat tires, jammed doors. It cannot move an inch. I asked if anyone was inside. No, just dust and broken glass. He asked me, "Are you sure that's the SUV that followed you? Because based on the condition, it couldn't have been driving." I stayed silent for a moment, then said softly, "I don't know if it was a car or something else using that form." The officer paused, then said, "Stay safe, ma'am." I was around 24 or 25 when this happened. I was driving from California to New Mexico. Work trip, no budget for flights. The company gave me a rental SUV, and I figured a road trip sounded good. Google Maps suggested a route that went straight through Route 191 in Arizona. Fastest route, it said. What it didn't say was, this is the kind of highway where you might drive hours without seeing another human being. Around 7:30 p.m., I entered Arizona. Dusk slowly turned into darkness. The Jeep's headlights lit up the desert road ahead like a pale, glowing ribbon. The first sign that something was wrong was small. The air inside suddenly felt cold. The AC was off. Outside, it was almost 90 degrees Fahrenheit, yet my arms were covered in goosebumps. I told myself, long drive, brains playing tricks. And of course, my phone had lost signal completely, but the real strangeness was up ahead. The strange shadow around 8:30 p.m., the highway was empty. Just my SUV and miles of desert darkness. I saw a black shape moving near the right side of the road just outside my headlights. Then it vanished. I thought maybe a coyote, a shrub, something blowing in the wind. But a few minutes later, the same shape appeared again. This time more clearly. It wasn't human, but it wasn't a four-legged animal either. It looked like someone very tall walking hunched over, almost crawling but not quite. In a way that felt wrong, I slowed down to look. The moment I reduced speed, the thing stepped back into the darkness, as if it knew I was watching and didn't want to be seen. A heavy pressure filled my chest. Empty road, no signal. I tightened my grip on the wheel and whispered to myself, "It's nothing, a hallucination." But it wasn't. It was following my SUV. 15 minutes later, I checked the rearview mirror, and the air just left my lungs. Behind my SUV, barely visible in the darkness, a tall figure running down the center of the road. Its movement wasn't human. It wasn't upright. It wasn't on all fours. It was somewhere in between, fast, unnatural. I floored the gas. SUV jumped from 70 to 85 miles per hour. But the thing kept pace, running just outside the glow of my headlights, as if staying hidden on purpose. I panicked and switched on the radio. Static. Then suddenly, a clear whisper, "Don't look back." I shut the radio off immediately, hands trembling. I told myself, interference, imagination, fatigue. But deep down, I knew this was something else. 9:15 p.m., the car in the middle of the road, about 300 to 400 meters ahead, a parked sedan appeared in the darkness. Headlights off, bad sign. No one ever stops on this route. As my SUV got closer, I saw the driver's door open, interior light on, as if someone had rushed out. On the sand nearby, drag marks, like someone was pulled or ran in a hurry. I slowed but didn't stop. I glanced in the rear view again. That thing was inside the abandoned sedan now, sitting hunched between the back seats, tall shoulders almost reaching the roof, watching me. I floored the gas. A chase that wouldn't end. I pushed the SUV to 95 miles per hour. The vehicle shook, but I didn't care. Minutes later, I heard tapping on my windshield. I glanced, long, black, finger-like marks sliding across the glass. Something was touching my car at 95 miles per hour. I looked again, nothing there, but my heart was pounding. Then, a louder tap on the roof. Something was crawling on top. Then a whisper inside my SUV. "Stop the car!" I shouted. "No!" and floored the gas. Pedro's gas station, the only light around 10 p.m. A faint glow appeared ahead. A small old gas station, half abandoned. A flickering neon sign, Pedro's Gas and Service. The moment I pulled in, every sound stopped. No tapping, no whisper, no movement on the roof. I jumped out and looked around. Nothing. Inside, the store was dusty, shelves stacked with snacks from decades ago. Behind the counter sat an old man, wrinkled face, hollow eyes. He looked at me and said, "You shouldn't stop on 191 at night." My mouth went dry. I asked, "Sir, is there an animal around here? Something tall, Human-like. He cut me off. You saw it. My blood froze. He leaned forward. They follow lonely drivers. They run in the dark. And if you stop on the road, they take you into the desert. I swallowed. Sir, how many have they taken? He didn't answer. He just looked toward the roof of my SUV, as if checking whether something was still there. The gas station's safety, I stayed there almost an hour, drank water, tried to breathe normally. The old man watched me silently. Around 10:55 p.m. he finally spoke. Leave now. These lights won't stay on forever. I checked my mirror. Darkness everywhere beyond the station's glow. I started the SUV and drove back onto the highway. Half a mile away, my phone suddenly got 1 bar of signal. A single message popped up. Unknown number. Don't look in the mirror. My whole body went cold. I tried not to, but human instinct is stronger. Slowly, I lifted my eyes to the mirror. In the back seat, in the blackness, the creature was sitting. Hunched, arms too long, face hidden, but I knew it was staring at me. I slapped the mirror down, pushed the SUV past 100 miles per hour. Didn't look back again. Morning. 2 hours later, I reached a town. Clifton, lights, buildings, people. It felt like coming back from a grave. I checked into a hotel, didn't sleep, didn't check the back seat. When the rental rep collected the SUV the next morning, he casually asked, "Sir, everything okay with the vehicle? There are some scratch marks on the roof." I couldn't respond. 10 years later. It's been 10 years. I've never taken that route again, never driven a similar SUV again, and sometimes, on quiet night drives, I still feel like something is running behind me. And if I ever hear the faintest tap-tap on my windshield, I never look back, because I know the thing that lives on Route 191 never truly leaves.